A very good afternoon to you, all of my friends listening and watching. This is again Dr. Surinder Kumar, and my topic today is again same line of thinking, but slightly a change. I want to talk about climate change and a threat as a threat to sustainability. Very important for us in today's scenario present, what's been happening across the globe. And I just want to cite a Gandhian principle, in fact, a comment I would say. Uh, it's like Gandhi was asked whether he thought the country could follow the British model of industrial development. His response was very relevant in today's context. He said, it took Britain half the resources of this planet to achieve its prosperity. I repeat, it took Britain half of the resources of this planet to achieve its prosperity. How many planets will India require for development? Again, there is a similar line of thinking. He made another comment in a different context, whereas he says, there is enough on this planet Earth for everyone's need, not for everyone's greed. We need to understand there is a conflict between need and a greed. The entire philosophical orientation, the methodology, and a kind of focus changes when we focus on greed and on comparison when there is a focus on need. So, any focus, any activity, everything which is happening across the globe by human has to be need based. There has to be a need which is to be focused, which should be the primary factor. So I want to just also mention a report which is very important, I would say, to mention. It's Human Development Report 2007 and 8. It's talking about the title Fighting Climate Change Human Solidarity in a Divided World. The report. And what is the extraction of this report? I'm just gonna read it out to you. Climate change is the defining human development issue in our generation. All development is ultimately about expanding human potential and enlarging human freedom. It is about people developing the capabilities that empower them to make choices and to lives that they value. Climate change threatens to erode human freedoms and limit choices. It calls into question the Enlightenment principle that human progress will make the future look better than the past. So, our intention, whereas looking into climate change, sustainable development, and making this world better for us and for the future generation, is very much, I would say, it has to be human focused. The human life has to be addressed at every step by all possible efforts. Now we need to understand there is always a conflict battle which is going on, as I just mentioned, need and greed battle which is happening. That's very important. Also in my recent videos, I've talked about when a disaster happens, it is also connected to climate change, global environmental change, and antithetical possibilities of sustainable and developmental growth in a society. When a disaster happens, there are two possibilities. Simultaneous, there is a presence of simultaneous things happening. The two scenarios, two dimensions, both are antithetical. One is like when you talk about social fortitude and solidarity happens all of a sudden because people club together, they team up, and they come to mollify and pacify the impact and mitigate and come and give their hands in response and recovery mechanisms, isn't it? They try to help people out who are stuck in disasters, who have been impacted and affected, maybe wounded and injured. That happens. But at the same time, there is also another dimension that crops up and blossoms in its full maturity. It is conflict, because on one hand people are coming together to challenge and to fight against a disaster, then a conflict happens. These are two sociological theories, they will go simultaneously. When a disaster happens, conflict will also happen. People will oppose certain kind of activity, certain kind of behavior, certain kind of requirements, certain kind of coming together. socializing, solidarity, that happens simultaneously. But this is a social phenomena, that keeps happening. But as I've just read out Gandhian principles and the report also of Human Development Report 2007 and 8, it only talks about two dimensions. One is antithetical to development, second is compatible to development. And now it is fairly up to us, because our perception, our definition, our personal understanding and interpretation, which is going to be more of an epistemological at times, has to be very accurate, scientific, and methodological when it comes to sustainable development, because there is interconnection between sustainable development and then global change also. Not just global change, then there is another connection between climate change and disaster management, response, recovery, rehabilitation, management, everything, because we are seeking construction, we are seeking reconstruction, we are seeking development and redevelopment, we are definitely and of course absolutely seeking human development and upliftment. But this will only happen when the human life, when the human component is right in the middle. And how will it come right in the middle? By coming closer and getting closer to natural possibilities, natural methodologies. Of course, mechanical possibilities will happen. They have to be entertained. They have to be invited. But at the same time, people have to just remain people. We just cannot exaggerate our potential and aggravate our potentials and try to unnecessarily expand the very horizon of our possibilities. That should not happen. That nature has to be dealt in a very natural way, in a very decent, in a very compatible way. Then only we can seek and we can look for a sustainable development. Thanks a lot listening, watching. This is Surrender.